That makes no sense.
Let's call the meeting to order. What would be the motion? I'm sorry. We're gonna stand by pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I missed it. Oh, you missed it. Yeah, I missed it. What would be the motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
What would be the motion? Moving proper second, all in favor? Motion carried. What would be the motion to approve the minutes for April the 13th, 2021?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for April 13, 2021.
Second. It's been moved and properly second, all in favor? Motion carried. Public participation? Have any? Okay, thank you. Good news. We have our ECU new teacher support. Board Vice Chair, Ms. Lois Clark.
Ms. Stout?
Ms. Stokes.
Hey, Ms. Stokes. Hello. How you doing?
I know what to do for my child.
You can. Thank you. Ms. Stokes, this is a plant presented to you from the ECU Region Long-Term Teachers Support. Another memories of Ms. Beverly Pittman. It says, for your years of dedicated service to Washington County School, you will be missed. This is
Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you.
And again, we certainly would like to continue to keep the family in our prayers. as we continue to remember the life of Ms. Beverly, who was such a asset to Washington County Schools. Washington County Schools recognition. We're going to begin with our classified support of the year. Ms. Yvonne Young, Washington County Early College High School.
Peace be with you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Ms. Cecilia Ross, Pines Elementary School.
Now, thank you. Okay, you can have a balloon, darling. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Ms. Vanessa Nobles, Washington County Middle School.
Well, she wanted to take a quick picture real quick, so we want to give her and her family that opportunity.
Awesome.
Sorry, Chairman.
Ms. Nobles, Washington County Middle School. Ms. Lois Bell Jones. Ms. Madeline Davenport. Washington County High School.
She's here. Okay.
Yeah, she's here. Okay, come on. Okay, say go.
Okay.
All right.
Inhale. Exhale. Awesome.
Thank you.
Certified support of the year. Ms. Letitia Kelly, Crestwell Elementary School.
All right. I don't think you had. Yeah, I don't think you've had this, Chairman. We had community members that joined us to interview each one of these candidates, and we are so grateful. It was retired educators, yes, leaders within our community, and I think we all really enjoyed meeting each one of these candidates. But the district. Do we want to get all of them together? No, okay, just her. All right. The district support person of the year for classified is Miss Gross.
Yay! Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I thought she didn't want me to.
You're too slow.
Ms. Letitia Kelly, Crestwell Elementary School. Congratulations, Ms. Kelly. You deserve it.
Miss Maloney, picture.
Thank you. Perfect. 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 Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations.
Miss Sarita Hines, Pines Elementary School.
I know.
Okay, ready? Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, Banana.
Miss Salida,
Thank you.
congratulations, Ms. Hines.
Yeah.
Miss Salida Skinner, Washington County Middle School.
Let me grab this. Space out, space out.
All right.
Okay, ready? Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Miss Skinner.
I did congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell her later.
Miss Renee Cherry, Washington County High School.
Congratulations.
That way. Not far, that way. Perfect. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Miss Cherry.
Thank you. Just wait out there.
Miss Ruthina Razanavi, Washington County Early College High School.
All right. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Razanavi.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Don't go too far, you all.
Okay, the district certified support person of the year is Miss Renee Cherry from Washington County High School. Congratulations, Cherry.
Oh, okay. All right. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Cherry.
Thank you.
I know we're doing this event tonight, but in the near future, when we get over this court, I would like to hold an event for these individuals. They deserve it. Okay, thank you. We want to dress up that night. International Teacher of the Year, Bong Abicula, Crestware Elementary School.
Come on in, yes.
Mr.
Congratulations.
Nicola, there you go.
You look
Let
a
me
teacher.
grab Miss Maloney. Here she goes.
Good teacher, good teacher.
Oh, right there. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Have a balloon. Get a
Oh,
balloon.
sorry, I'm failing on the top.
That's okay.
Elisa Taslamanta, Hines Elementary School.
Miss Lamont.
Miss Lamanta.
Hello, come on in.
Right here.
Congratulations. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Have a balloon. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shindy Bagara, Washington County Middle School. Y'all got a back for me. Y'all got a back for me.
Right there, right there, right there. Inhale. Exhale. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Get the balloon, darling. Either one. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Crystal Robinson, Washington County High School.
Oh, Miss Robinson.
And shadow. And then
You make up.
Thank you.
All right, inhale. Exhale, awesome, congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right.
And the district international teacher of the year is Miss Felicitas Lumeta.
Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Black tie. Yes, ma'am. I see it in your eyes.
Beginning teacher of the year, Canada Ruffin, Hines Elementary School.
All right.
Miss Ruffin.
Inhale. Congratulations. All right.
Just stand by the door. Stand by the door.
Inhale. Exhale. Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Peel. Thank you so much. Get one.
I think two, thank you.
Miss Jane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Wazonia James, Washington County Middle School.
All right, inhale.
Didn't she send you that copy?
Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
This one is now put together.
Thank you, Ms. James.
Congratulations, Ms. James.
Thank you.
Miss Rhodesia Moore, Washington County High School.
Congratulations. What's that? Uh-oh. All right. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations. Get them along.
Miss Gallup.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Jayla Carmen, Washington County High School.
Thank you.
All right.
Just make sure it's laid
Inhale.
in minutes.
Exhale. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Get them along, darling. Get them along, darling.
All right. Miss Carmack, you are the district beginning teacher.
Congratulations. Inhale.
I know this teacher.
Exhale.
I want to make a comment tonight. All right.
All right. Congratulations.
I hold on my remarks. Teacher of the year, Miss Kim Moore, Crestwell Elementary School.
Congratulations. Come on in.
You're welcome.
Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations. May get them alone. All right.
Mr. Goddard.
Right, and then he's
I'm sorry,
That's
y'all.
okay.
Miss Jeanette Delgado, Pines Elementary School.
Congratulations. All right, inhale. Exhale. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Miss Delgado. Miss Clarice Johnson, Washington County Middle School.
All right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Miss Johnson.
All right. Perfect, Ms. Douglas.
Wow.
Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Miss Stephanie Barnes, Washington County High School.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, I need to be in this.
Congratulations.
All right, inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Barnes.
Oh, thank you.
And now.
Our district teacher of the year that will compete and go forward for the state representing Washington County Schools is Ms. Delgado.
Yeah. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Inhale. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Congratulations.
Let's give all of our participants a round of applause.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We will continue to say to all of our staff, good job, even with COVID, you guys have done an excellent job. We appreciate all you do for Washington County School. Washington County Schools will be led by 21st century professionals. We'll need a motion to approve the personnel report. Moving properly second that we approve the personnel report. All in favor? Right, motion carried. We'll need approval of the East Carolina University ECU match MOU.
Sure, it has to do with a service that's free of charge to Washington County, the school, or Washington, it's for the middle school. And it's usually shared by the PE teachers, but it has to do with making good health choices, but it is curriculum University free of charge to Washington County schools, and has relayed that it is something that the students look forward to. So we're just asking for approval to continue that partnership. We have many partnerships with East Carolina, but that's one of them.
Okay. The approval of East Carolina University ECU match. All in favor? Approval of the McDonald's fundraiser for Washington County Middle School.
Yes, McDonald's Corporation will provide an opportunity for staff a monetary donation based on sales, and you try to advertise it to staff and students, and it's just a way of local companies supporting local school. And since it wasn't on Ms. Stokes' original submitted fundraisers, I just asked that she have it approved by the board, but it's also an opportunity where she's going to offer and extend that invitation to parents to come do a computer check So a great opportunity, come buy your hamburger and support McDonald's and support your child by doing a health check on your computer at the same time.
Okay, approval of the McDonald's fundraiser for Washington County Middle School on May 20th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So now we need the presentation for a consideration by the board for Washington County virtual.
Yeah.
Okay, board, we have found, hearing back from some of our parents, that there are a group of folks that have indicated that they would like to continue in a virtual format long-term. And so the board approved sending out a survey to find out what interest there might be in Washington County schools. And if you can go to the next slide. So this presentation is a consideration for you to keep a choice within Washington County schools to allow virtual to be a consideration and an option. But information to share with you over the course of the presentation, because there's been a lot of statewide changes and momentum in remote learning over the past couple of weeks. But if the board approved keeping virtual as an option for Washington County, it would offer that opportunity for parents to select Washington County schools if that was the mode of instruction that they desired, that was also proven to be successful for their child. I do want to reiterate from the beginning, if this is something that Washington County approves moving forward, there would be a much higher accountability and expectations going into a year where that was a choice that the parent and the family made, and it would have to be something that was proven successful for the student in order to remain, which would be in line with other counties that have had this type of option available for a number of years. So it's just a fact that we have to look at and consider that over the course of just even a few years, we have lost some students. So this is also an opportunity to potentially attract students back to our district. And these are just simply a couple of slides indicating the numbers of children that we have at the different years in the different subgroups. And this is another way of looking at the same type data, but you look at it by grade span as well as the racial makeup. So what would a virtual academy do for Washington County? First of all, it would again include rigorous expectations, a higher degree of accountability moving forward into the next year. There would have to be a commitment from the family that was going to include regular attendance, engagement. It would not be the format that we've encountered this year, where we've actually had to chase students and say, please get online, please participate. That's not the look or at all what I am suggesting that we look at for next year. It would need to be a family commitment, and that would also involve attendance at school functions where we were in parental engagement and family opportunities that we also do with our face-to-face students, but they would be special for students that were in this type of setting. I'm also not suggesting that this would be an option that would allow for the paper packets that we've had to embrace this year. If this is approved, it is for a virtual academy. It is not to do paper packets at home. And we have reiterated this all year, but just another reminder that if this was approved by DPI and approved by the Washington County School Board, state testing is still required on campus, regardless of if you're a remote learner or if you're a face-to-face learner. All state testing is still required on the campus. So this is what the data look like from our survey. And I want to point out that it's not 100%. We just stopped taking data when it looked like week after week, the same type results were being shown, which indicated that there was a desire among some of our families to continue in this venue. We will discuss the actual numbers moving forward, because even the data that was collected with 672 entries, it already surpasses if approved by the board. And there's some legislation out there which kind of caps us. So those that filled out the survey, it would be my opinion, should have priority because they followed through with what we were asking them to do. Okay. So you asked me, Chairman Riddick, to provide what would that look like? Like, give me a visual of what it would look like if we considered this for Washington County. So we had our ADN meetings with the finance director and the principals, and based on that 672 students, this is what it looked like. This is how it fleshed out. And so how it would flesh out would be one teacher would have a combination class for a K2. One teacher would be contracted to offer grades 3 and 4. One teacher could serve grades 5, 6. And one teacher could serve grades 7, 8. It gets a little trickier and a little more complicated when you get to the high school. So this is what it looks like by block. So what it would look like by block is English would have 2 periods in the fall, math had 2, science 2, social studies 2. But in the spring, in order to meet all the prereqs for the number of students and their grade levels for who had requested it, it would look like 2 blocks of English, 3 for math, 1 for science, and 2 for social studies. So it would, this is what I mean, like it's taken a heightened sense of attention among the state. You can see that there are currently 2 bills. One's a House bill, one's a Senate bill. And the Senate bill does have the language within it, which was what I was proposing for Washington County. What I was proposing was the school within the school model. But we received from Catherine Joyce from NCASA a indication that if we did not apply and have a school number for our county by May the 1st, and we received that the evening of April 29th, if we didn't have an approved number and apply for a number by May 1st, it was out of consideration for your county. So, so that we could continue to have a conversation about if virtual would be an option for our students in 21. We applied for a code because the House bill 644, which had more momentum than the Senate bill, and it looked like that one was going to pass and move into law, said, again, if you don't have a code, this is a moot point for your county. Now, it did go ahead and grandfather in counties that already had successful virtual academies. They are planning on doing some overseeing of how successful they are. You know, how are your students attending? Are they academically successful? You know, what does it look like? But I did not misspeak when I said my desire was for Washington County to embrace a school within a school model. But this recent legislation that just came out is mandating that we had to take some type of action or either be left behind with no choice. So the reason I bring this up to you is it is clear within that current bill that's on the floor that they are capping off all counties at 10% of their ADM. So that's why it's important to mention, because we already have over 10% of our students that have requested it. So then you're getting into, again, if it's an approved method of moving forward, we have to get into the commitment and the conversations with the family, as well as some type of random selection, such as a lottery, which would make it fair. But it also tells me that the indication statewide is pro-choice, pro-charter, and I just suggest to you that we continue to stay a viable option for all of our parents and not have them reach outside of Washington County. Let's keep that opportunity within our grasp. So here is the letter that indicates that they did receive it, and if the board approves that, we would be able to, upon permission and approval by EPI, we have a number that we could move forward if the board so chooses. But it also did note that a principal position would also be assigned to it. So I just wanted to let you know the reasons why that all had to happen, like literally overnight. So this is what it looks like for the high school, and then I'll answer your questions, Ms. Clark. So this is the visual, what it looks like. So when we met with the team, the virtual option for the teacher would be in bold, because remember, we all agreed that this was just too much long-term for teachers to have to teach both a remote and face-to-face students all in the same period, all day long. It just, you can't keep that up long-term. So this is what it looks like for the fall. As you can see in the bold, we would end up paying that fall semester. For instance, let's just take one teacher. Ms. Jones, 0.25% of her salary would come out of the virtual, and 0.75 would come out of the restart for Washington County High School. So that's how you follow this all the way down. And so there are two, again, 2 in English, 2 in math, 2 in science. One more, 2 in social studies, and they're the bolded ones. Now, we didn't have any electives in there, but you know, we do still have the option of virtual public for electives. Okay, and in the spring, remember, it was very similar. It had the same grouping as far as the number of periods. It was just a little bit different in one core subject. So that's what it looks like visually. So now it's just, do we move forward in offering that as an option or not?
Yes. I think you said that when I'm finding about us taking this, you might be able to increase our ADM. People may want to come back to. I'm going to get those words.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Clark. Well, my original plan when I was talking with you about it was the school within the school model. And again, I'm trying to protect us from having to risk and lose people if we lose children. But we could have to operate it out of one of our existing facilities.
Like I said, we're gonna lose.
I think the school within the school model. Well, the school within the school model, we weren't gonna lose ADM.
No, you wouldn't lose ADM with either one.
I think we wouldn't lose it, but it will appear that we are, because they're gonna be going to what I'm looking at is if we have something that comes from the high school that says I'm going now, I'm in person, but I'm gonna choose to go to virtual academy. The high school will retain that ADM, which means they'll go under, that's what, I asked you about that code.
And I did not want to have to do that.
See, that's what I'm
It's
afraid
the
of,
reason.
because what happens is when they already restart school.
Right.
So we applied for that, and that was a hurdle trying to get through too. And so if we do that and we take, to me, we take from the high school, that's any other school.
Right.
We put them in a virtual school. If everybody choose to go, if you got over half to choose to go virtual.
No, you can't, it's capped off at 10%.
Well, it's capped off, so then what happens to your, when you lose your ADM, that means I know we say we won't lose a teacher, but we really would if that teacher didn't qualify to go into the virtual piece.
We remember the high school model is so different because we're not talking about a teacher teaching full-time for virtual. Remember, it was just one period a day.
So we'll be adding another principal on staff.
Yeah.
Right.
If it gets approved for
Right.
a principal, and if it's in the budget. I mean, because that was one of the issues that came out of it.
But you do keep your ADM because you're keeping your ADM within Washington County. Well, but we had no choice. And if we don't do the virtual, the ADM will not stay like it is because the families will choose to do virtual with a public charter. It's just it's a risk you take. So it's just a decision that you have to make.
I see the good in it, and I see the other part.
They're forcing our hand.
I'm trying to, well, I mean,
and that's the bottom line. I mean, they don't really push us into the point where we had.
I don't see that when I look at the survey. When I look at the survey, I don't see. We got 75% that says
Wholeheartedly, they want face to face.
you want to have 24% that says virtual. So
right, and I'm just suggesting we don't need to lose them.
So how does that, to me, I don't think we got enough to really say we want to do it. Do we got to do it right now?
Well, that
yes.
We already have the number.
Right.
We have the number, but we do need to do it right now. Yes. And the reason we do is we've got some tough decisions that this board's going to have to make, because the next thing on line to discuss is we now have to reconsider what we have available to serve our students with the facilities. And so all of these options have a decrease in the number of schools available at Washington County.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that up. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want people to be looking at that saying, yeah, confused.
And I feel like if you taking children to go to a virtual academy, we are losing ABE. Because yes, you are. I don't read about this stuff.
But I guess
what I'm not to be pushed into that.
I guess what they're saying, we don't lose ABM, that you still gonna retain it. You retain it for the district overall.
Right.
But I think where I was okay with it, when we didn't have to have another number. So that's adding another. It's virtual. You don't have to, but you have to operate with some kind of building.
Right, but Mr. Riddick, I was online in another in a training at the time that this stuff came down. And it was actually a school board association training.
Yeah.
And when this stuff came down, our whole focus changed. And trying to figure out how in the world we were going to be able to do this, because they only gave us like 24 hours to get it done, technically. Because it came down on a Thursday evening, and all you had was Friday.
Yes, ma'am. Because May 1st was a Saturday.
Yeah. So we had to go ahead and do what needed to be done. I applaud Dr. Carr for getting it done and turning it around as quickly as she did. I don't think we're going to have a choice. I mean, COVID has put us in so many different situations. And I think one thing that some parents have realized is that their kids do better virtually. So but it's a very minuscule number. It's not a lot.
But that's what
but there are some.
So then that's what I'm asking, is our district big enough to want a virtual academy?
No.
Yes.
I think I'm already fussing about this stuff. I am looking out for my people. Washington County, I'm not talking about Lake County. Any other county, I'm talking about Washington County. We are gonna need AUM if we get a virtual school. And I already know it because I done called you.
You're gonna keep your ADM if they choose to go to Washington virtual rather than a public charter, which is virtual. Then we're going to be sending money out of Washington.
Most of them believe, so I read somewhere that the way North Carolina is going, they're going toward most of Charles Street.
They kind of that.
Well, that's how they capping off the.
Yeah, so.
That's how they capping off the students out of the public school.
So what you trying to say is what you got. And work off of work, anyway. I think you said you have to go, that it would be option.
Oh, yeah, it would be optional. And it would be optional for those students who have actually shown some success.
Well, is there any, let me ask this question, is there any trial base to this?
Yeah, I mean, you would.
I'm asking that because I, you know what I'm saying? Because if we see it going the way we don't think it should go, can we say, let's wait on this? You know, that's where I'm at. I mean.
I would think that EPI would have the expectation of committing for the year.
Yeah.
You want to weigh in on that?
I'm not sure what the answer is, but my thought is, I guess what I'm thinking is, what would keep you from putting together the program, being prepared to offer it, if you have no takers, then just.
Then absolutely.
Or if you only have a couple, it's not.
Right.
So I'm thinking, I don't know that you're irretrievably committed just because you start planning for it.
Yes, that's what I want to do. I want to start planning for it. But I don't want to, I want to see if we got any takers that people are commit to it before we actually get into this. That's what I mean.
But even to plan, we have to exactly. And I mean, we have to say, yes, we can go ahead and offer this. And when the time comes, Mr. Griggs, I think that if we, again, don't
Gotta leave that door open.
at least.
So the folks that's waiting to come in can't hear.
Okay.
And when they turn it up, it's just making feedback in the microphone.
Okay, that's.
I'm sorry. I can turn the air down.
The air on.
You want it on?
He's asking, you want it to be turned down so that.
Yeah, a little bit. Dr. Carter put back on as well.
It's all right. I got one handy.
And looking at trying to prove, I mean, whether we have to go ahead and say, well, yes, we'll offer the virtual academy. And if we don't get any students, then we're not the worst for wear.
Well, see, I want it to be clear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when we say things in this setting, if we say it, you know, and I'm not speaking to her,
right?
I think, but anytime we ever be somebody, we say, well, we just gonna see, and it's like, well, we got it, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna move. These kids need to do it. I don't want to go do that. It needs to be, not nobody be coerced to do it. It's completely up to the individual. I don't want to go and start taking kids from school saying these 10 are going to be virtual, and I feel like that's what's going to happen.
No, that's not. We can't.
It would be purely elective.
But see, we say that, but I don't want us to go and say, well,
what we're
these 10 gonna be good for, these 10 gonna be good for, and I don't, you know,
I feel like we're going to have the opposite problem.
Yeah,
We're going to have more than 10% sign up.
So when you guys commit to teachers, if these students leave these grades and go into virtual school, when you guys commit tonight that teachers, because if I'm gonna commit to something like this, then I need to commit on you guys' part, that teachers that lead the program, that students that lead and go to this program, that teachers will continue to be employed, and they would just switch over to the virtual part, because I don't want to open up application process to a virtual student. I want to utilize the teachers we have.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want to make sure that our teachers
Yes,
are protected through this.
definitely.
So if my class go virtual, and I got a teacher, you ain't gonna lose your job, you just going to the virtual school.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what I want to know.
Yeah.
Well, I think this,
It's protecting them.
so, I mean, okay.
The only way we would lose ADM from the district would be if these children go to one of the public virtual schools.
The public virtual charter school.
Yes, but as long as they stay within our district, we keep the ADM overall.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we have had to move teachers before, if that's what it takes, if the teacher, if we have to move the teacher to the virtual academy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to come back here again and say, well,
Oh, no.
we gotta let that teacher go because enough kids didn't go to the virtual academy, so that teacher,
No, we're not
I
gonna.
ain't going, I've been down that road
Because
before.
if enough kids don't go, then we won't have it.
Okay,
And the teachers will still have their class.
I just want all this on record.
It's on record, Tim.
I want it on record.
It's on record.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna come back here and do this again.
No,
I want this stuff to be done right the first time.
no, I don't want to come back either.
Okay.
I'm not gonna move about enough, not to no budget.
Well, see, but see,
I'm just telling you what
I hear what you say, wait till.
Uh-huh.
They want to be virtual first. They want that good, the teacher they got.
So you're saying, but I'm saying when they require us, no, I'm saying, what we gonna, well, I guess what we're saying is, what's gonna happen when they require to go back face to face? Oh, yeah. But I guess this right here is if the state says we go face to face, then we still have the option to, you know, and as long as we have stuff on record, we can always go back and say, well, we said this, and this is what this is directed that the board gave, and we're gonna do.
And also, as we said in finance meeting, that we will not lose anybody. That if it comes to push it, we will save our teachers.
Yes, you're right. That's my
I mean, that's
desire.
what we told in finance meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I don't know. I should go.
Say what?
I think go for it.
I agree. I think we have to in this stuff so that we don't lose any people and lose everything. And lose teachers. So, what do you need from us, Tim?
And I'm okay with trying it. I appreciate this package tonight. I need some, you know, y'all got to forgive me. I need like good clarity on stuff, you know, before I just want to make sure that we're doing the, you know, and that doesn't take anything away from the superintendent. You know, but I have to, you know, I gotta, you know. So who are we working with at DPI with this program?
Can we go back to the letter?
Do I have the letter in here?
No, it's in the PowerPoint.
Okay.
It doesn't say which office it came from.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Oh, I have it.
We did have it and it arrived.
Do we have to move on this? Do we have to take action on this tonight?
It's part of the plan for next year. If we, I mean, you've got
We
to.
can't utilize the number to July the 1st.
you can't utilize the number, but right now is a critical time for high schools. They have to go ahead and start registering students. And so we designed the schedule to where when students had selected virtual and it was approved, that we could go ahead and build their schedules to make sure we had enough for 9th through 12th grade to make sure we could take care of all the required courses. So it's so we can do all of the scheduling. So we're behind on scheduling, and we're behind because this year has just been a tremendous year. But the whole secondary team at Washington County High helped participate in coming up with that master schedule, and it will work.
Who's going to oversee this program?
Well, there will be a principal assigned if it's approved. So that would be the
What
main
principal are we assigned? That's what I want to know.
There's not. It would be one of our current principals. I do not have any idea in mind because I need to know how many schools we're operating next year, which is the next thing on the list. And then we can, when I know how many campuses we're trying to run, it is an awful lot, but it is a lot, but we just, you know, there's not a lot of weeks between now and even the beginning of the year, and there's an enormous amount of planning that has to take place.
Chairman Riddick, within that letter, it was stated that that would depend on budget funds.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. I see.
Also stated in that there is a school number 94332, which is assigned to the new school. And they're talking about a new school. You keep saying no new school, but this is a virtual school and gotta be assigned a number. Right, I asked you that before, and you said no.
That was before the.
I'm telling you, Dr. Carl.
Okay, well, excuse me, and I was trying to help her out, me too.
Yeah. I know.
Go ahead. You got it.
It would operate out of the Crestwell High building.
So, now you tell me.
And the address is in the PowerPoint.
And this is what Mr. Price been trying to get all the time. He's been told in the community. I done told you this stuff, Mr. Lee. Mr. Price said he got this woman in his pocket and he gonna build a K-12, K through 8, K-12 down that crossing at Washington County High School.
If he's the principal at the early college, then he would be over the early college, not Washington.
Well, he said, and I know he said he had you in his hip pocket.
Well, I'm glad to know that we work together well. There are a lot of people talking about a variety of things.
They know this clock and they tell everything that goes on in Washington County. You down from the sheriff department. Maybe our children are, we got our children on the field.
So
about this children.
Me too, Ms. Clark.
I would like to thank you all. I think we all have differences of opinions that need to be heard.
okay. So I guess this is called for presentation and approval board tonight for this virtual academy. And we can call for a vote or feel more comfortable with DPI chiming in. That's just up to y'all. I mean, we can, it's up to the board. Y'all, I mean, you tell me how you want to do it.
Mr. Chairman, we obligated if you continue on asking this out, we will be here.
Oh, no, I ain't saying tonight.
We still to make a decision.
I ain't saying tonight.
Okay.
I was saying if we need to.
We need to find out what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Move something there, because we stalled it. We need to find out what we're doing. Not gonna do it.
You
We're
can
wrong.
take it to the board and here, you decide if we want to keep our idea. So we gotta make a decision that's true.
I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is, we need to make a decision because we stand too long on one subject. That's what I'm saying. We need to find out what we're gonna do. Move on or pass it, whatever.
24 hours, we need to stay on the 24 hours.
Okay. And I'm not opposed to a virtual academy. I think my hang up, guys, is just that number. That school number has always been my, you know, that's always been my, because I was okay. Not the car, you know.
That was a surprise to me too.
I know. I think I'm gonna need a little more research on myself. That's just me. If the board pleasure is to move forward with this virtual academy, so be it. I'm not gonna hold it up, but I just want to be able to understand it. And I'm not knocking. I mean, I see where they said that you got to have the House and the Senate say, yeah, the Senate bill said school within a school. And the House said, no, you're gonna have a code. It's gonna be a separate school.
And at the very end of it, Chairman read it, charter schools have the option of being blended. Thrown in right there at the end.
Not wrong.
Correct.
You would?
Only charter schools have the option of staying blended.
Or the pro-charter, pro-tour.
But in order for us to compete for those students,
We
had to do a different set of rules.
Yeah, Chairman, it says LEAs that have assigned school codes by May 1st to operate schools with virtual instruction can continue to operate those schools with virtual instruction. And then again, it comes down here and says a charter school can provide blended learning. And that's in that House bill.
And of course, it's not on law, so we can change it again.
That's what I'm saying. So they allow them to do.
They always have.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but they get the priority.
They get away with so much.
They get the priority. And we got to have a school code assigned in order just to operate a virtual academy.
But again, you know, if you look at a lot of the bills coming out,
that's not fair.
and particularly the House at this point, it's more about going to charter schools. They're trying to phase out public schools.
They've been trying to dissolve LEAs for the long. They want to privatize the school system.
Yeah, just like they did mental health, and that didn't work either.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we give it. I mean, I'm not opposed to giving it to see what it's going to look like. But if it's not working, I do want the record to show that it's not working. Yeah, we dissolve these.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because
that's what my belief is. Not working.
I think the selection. I do think that the selection process of the principal and stuff needs to be done. I think that you guys. I know you're the superintendent, but I think it need to be done with the community involved. So if you're gonna select a principal for that building, you know, with the command, I want you guys just to say, well, we're gonna assign this principal. You know, whether the talk is out there or not, I ain't concerned about none of that. What I'm saying is everybody have a fair choice and not a principal being made to do.
Right, but I mean, could we not, I mean, would they not apply? Or would we just assign one?
One of the principals, you're just gonna sign it, one of the principals, correct?
My goal was to try to hold on to our current staff.
That means the principal being charged of their school in a virtual school.
Only the virtual academy. Right. It would only.
So you're gonna move from their current location. So what are you gonna do with the principal at another building?
Well,
that all comes into play with our
that.
options.
Okay, well, we need to do that first then.
Well, kind of yes and no. I think we need to go ahead and decide on this, and then we can go to the next. Because that's a whole other ball of work. Getting through those 9 options.
Okay.
What's the name? A motion? Do we need to have a motion in this like?
A motion would be
Yeah,
appropriate.
you got to have a motion to carry. I just see it from both ways, that's all. I'm just telling y'all, y'all gotta understand where I'm coming from.
Always.
We're in a bad spot. Bad spot.
Why didn't we get that keep the principal?
I've been talking to the principals about it all year.
And let us be involved. You never involved the board in anything. You and your little staff make our decision on what we're gonna do with our school. And we don't know nothing about it. When we find out about it, it's in the street and they're coming to us with it. I don't know who your staff is up there in the central office, but they no more on the board now. You find out at the last minute.
I share things with you weekly.
I'm talking about this right here. We don't know nothing about this.
I sent it to you in an email on Friday for you to review. And I have been collecting input, but Ms. Park, we have to have a meeting.
It's hardly take more than 2 days to go over this stuff. To really understand what this stuff is. But I know what it is. I'm not going back.
I'm not trying to go back to
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we at least move forward with the virtual academy.
Second. Okay. It's been moved and properly second, all in favor? Okay. Y'all, the only reason I'm just stuck, I just want to be clear, guys. Because out here, seeing school, this did not work. It didn't work. The teachers lost their jobs. And I'm just.
If we lose ADM, teachers will lose their jobs.
Yeah, but I don't want
to keep the ADM in the district.
I know. I do know that part, but
We're people we do, but we're not going to really call them on virtual academy. And this is what is going to happen. And I know it. I see it.
We have 2 ayes and
this has got me this number.
Which number?
I know. This school code got me hung up, yeah.
And I also see it as a chairman, I might add, see it as an opportunity to continue with the principal, because with us closing down a site, because we had to, we got a building closed. So that's just another thought.
No, I don't lose nobody.
I don't want to lose any.
I don't lose anybody. From my perspective of what she talking about, and 3 9 auction.
But we're dealing with the virtual piece right now. Let's stay, because we got a vote on the floor. Okay. And I just want to deal with these. Mr. Norman said we need to move on. I know that. I'm gonna say give it a shot. I'm gonna vote yes. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna say this. This program is not. I just want to see what it's gonna look like. It's not.
And if we don't get the numbers, we don't know.
We will convene back. We will convene back as a board and make another decision.
Yes, we will. That's fine.
I just want that kind of integrity means everything to people.
Yeah,
That we function like this. So I want to do that. I want to be clear.
please, let's be.
That's all. You know, I want to be transparent about it.
Yep.
You know, I look at the fact that with the decision that we got to make with these buildings tonight,
Yes,
stuff
sir.
like that. You know, I don't want to. No.
Right. I agree.
I'm okay with it. So motion is carried.
Thank you.
Motion is carried. Motion is carried. I'm gonna follow my good. I just want to say that. That's fine. And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Sometimes we just gotta we'll just see what it's gonna look like. Okay. We need to discuss the presentation discussion of grade configuration and facility site 21-22.
Okay. Chairman Reddick, when we started looking at what it would take to repair Pines, we discovered an architectural structural engineer study from 2017 that indicated other things that we needed to take into consideration outside of the environmental study, the HVAC. So Ms. Cantrell started collecting bids to take care of all of the concerns at that building. And they had indicated that there is no way that we could have staff or students in the facility prior to Christmas, and that was being very optimistic. They said what's more realistic is to give the entire year to be out of that facility so that if the board chose and the county commissioners supported the funding to get that building back to a condition where we could return staff and students to the facility, it would not be during the next calendar year. So immediately upon hearing that, executive committee began trying to look at, okay, what do we have available? What do we have within our current reach for our facilities to accommodate our current ADM? And so looking at the facilities that we currently occupy would be Washington County Middle School, the current location for Washington County Early College High School, and the Crestwell High building, which was previously approved to relocate the early college to in the fall, as well as Crestwell Elementary. So those are our spaces that would be available, because we also made sure to let Pines staff know that the decision to move them down to the Crestwell facility was considered to be a temporary move to get us through this calendar year, and it would be revisited. It would be revisited and approved by the board. What would it look like moving forward? So we have a variety of plus deltas worked out for you that embrace 9 different options. Okay, several of them have concerns regarding busing. Several of them have concerns about, a lot of it surrounds pre-K, because pre-K seems to be a little bit of a hiccup for us, but it's not something that we can't address. So some of the options have pre-K for the 3 classes that were at Pines moving to the the current early college high school site used to be used for pre-K. So, yes, sir. So that would be a facility that we could license relatively easy, because it used to be a site. Also, there's that same opportunity at Creswell Elementary. Those would be pretty easy rooms to get licensed. And I say that kind of tongue in cheek about easy as far as licensing, because anyone who's ever been through pre-K inspections and licensing of a facility knows it is a multi-step process. There are many inspections, lots of rules and regulations, all of which we can do in those two facilities relatively easy. Where it gets a little more complicated is if the choice was made for pre-K to move to what is currently the middle school facility, then that is more costly for funding because of the restrooms and the sinks that are required. But again, it's not an impossible task. So we know we have to do something going into next year. We have to do something to take care of our kids and our staff. So I propose to you to review the plus deltas that exist. There are in some of the choices fewer sites. There are a lot of districts that have moved to K through 8 configurations, and they generally call that an elementary school. But you know, that is a popular choice in a lot of districts. So that's some of the options that are available. We had fewer room availability at Washington County High because we are still unable to use that second story of that building. That is not available to use. So I don't know how in depth you want me to make these, or how, if you want me to read through all of them, I'll be glad to read through all of them. But that's kind of the gist of the different options.
I got something on these I was reading this weekend, trying to
It's a lot process.
Yeah. So I got a question to ask, and I guess this is our county commissioners. I know this might not seem like a valuable option, but I do think that, like Ms. Cherry said, we had a conversation. They don't help the things. We can't at this time. Right now, I know we're talking to them on construction of a new facility, but it ain't gonna happen in a year. It ain't gonna happen overnight. There's things that we gotta get in place. Hines will be the perfect site for a K-12 site. It will be a perfect site. Already have plumbing and everything. Already have your water, your sewer. It'll be perfect. I know right now that would be like a next year, that would be more 2.5 to 3 year phase. What is the option with putting trailers on Pine site? And they can't say it can be done because we needed trailers the last time. I remember when we needed trailers the last time, they had some that were already built. They said they could bring them on to us.
Well, Chairman Riddick, I'd ask you to consider the cost benefit analysis of that. There is cost assigned to locating mobile trailers, considerable cost.
You know, the Pine is about the cost. That is not our facility.
Right, and I'm just suggesting that we do
somebody else got to help us.
Right, and regardless of what happens with Pines, outside of the school system, including ESSER dollars, there will be some additional funding that will be required.
Oh, well, cool. Is there
Because
any way that people can bring the board back that option to see what it would cost us to put trailers on that site because it can be done. You know, that should be an option too. They said he had trailers in Raleigh, and people said they was just bring them. Yeah, they don't want to hook them up. Bring them.
Well, it's very costly to do what, I'm not saying that it's not worth, but you could take that money and then work on repairing what needs to be repaired, or either demolishing and starting again, rather than just open up and just pour money in. Yeah. These options, yes, ma'am. And the options I provided for you would work with our numbers of students that we currently have. And not at all the cost of relocating mobile units.
I've been writing and reading. So can I share an option that we make in hand? Do mine matter? Do my option matter? Okay, all right. Okay, I mean y'all can tell me this saying crazy, but it really.
I'm gonna read it.
I mean, I'm being honest.
Okay, option 10.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna bless you.
Okay.
I'm ready.
The high school should not change.
Right, okay.
Students continue to go to Washington High School. Washington County High School. K-5 can still go to Crestwell. Now, move the Crestwell K-5 line more to the west. Site the Shores, move the K-5 lines more to the west. To Site the Shores, cut down the number of elementary students who are going to Pines. Listen to this. Just move the district elementary line west for Crestwell. This means that you expand the Crestwell boundary line more towards Roper to increase the number of PK5 going to Crestwell. Think about it. So that means students that are on that end will be required to go to that school, which will increase your ADM at the Crestwell site. Right? So listen now. This plan over all other plans, it keeps pre-K-5 students bus ride time at a minimum because we talked about it. Because the distance from Cypress Shores to Crestwell is about the same from Cypress Shores to Pines.
Okay.
It allows middle school and high school students to remain as is, with the only addition coming to the middle school is K-5.
So now we got some K-5 from the eastern side.
That's right. Going to the.
And Chairman, do you want all 4 pre-K classes at Crestwell?
No, so you can put pre-K can go to the early college.
Okay, so you're gonna move pre-K to the early college.
Yeah, they can go to the early college.
And the early college is going
can go to Crestwell. They can still go to Crestwell. Yeah, they can still go to Crestwell.
That's one of the plans.
That's an option 8. 8 got something to do with that.
See, this is just stuff I just wrote down. By using this plan, the middle school and the high school students will not change. The only school that is affected by this is the school that we are talking about, Pines. Its students will be dispersed between the middle school and Crestwell Elementary. But that will only be if we can, the county line will go from Cypress Shores. Your bus ride will still be will be cut down at a minimum. That will help us.
Well, yes and no, it's got pieces of it.
They got pieces of it.
Right. Talk about the lines.
So it got pieces of it, but that was probably you could sell that better to the people than you could. Because I'm gonna say this. Miss Cherry probably heard about it and know about it. She might have been a part. But consolidation is a monster. And I don't want to go back through that again. And I ain't gonna talk about it. I don't want to go back through it again. But You know, I've been called names that I never thought I'd be called. And you witness. I'm serious, y'all know this. We've been called, and
It's actually option 7.
I would rather help to build the ADM in Crestway, than to try to take a team. Because they always feel like we just take everything away. What we're really doing is add. So,
Yes, ma'am. It's option 7.
Yes, it is.
So this plan this right here, and moving on, that means more of your kids on that western end. If they live on the end, they don't have to come all the way up. They can go right to Crestwell to the elementary school. And that will increase your ADM down there. Then. So now you got the early college down that we talked about putting down there. You got use for the early college building, man, and nobody ain't got to go nowhere. The only school that we impact is the one that's been impacted. That's fine. That will help us out tremendously. You could use this right here. And this just stuff I just jotted down real quick because this is a lot that's needed. I ain't hear so many headaches all the day.
Are we gonna put these options up? That was one of the things we said we had to do.
Yes, ma'am. I would really encourage the board to provide about 3 choices, or maybe 4 choices to our stakeholders, which would be our staff and our students and our parents. But just like it's overwhelming to us to consider 10 choices or 9 choices, and they all have merit, but I just recommend to you that we kind of narrow it down to 3 and then put out a survey and ask for input.
Every district is allowed.
Well, I think that
The people, it's not just from Carlos Riddick. These are from people that have said these are the options.
Well, that's just my suggestion. I think the board can do what the board wants.
But I think we would be better off doing it that way than affecting everybody. Because when you start moving, let's say you talking about 7 through 12. Now you got to have athletics for middle school and high school in the same place. We're gonna start messing with athletics. We're gonna start. It's just, we've been through that with consolidation. But we just deal with what's on hand with Pines and not upset every other apple. I think we would succeed in what we're doing. It ain't gonna be easy for nobody. But what we gotta do, and we can make Union viable, okay, because I know
I counted the classrooms.
We can do it. We can do it easily. It could easily, So, that's just my 2 bit, but
So option 7 is definitely on the table.
Yeah, because I'm trying to save you for the people. These people can.
Well, see, option 7, Dr. Carr said 9 through 12. Okay.
It's what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, what you just said.
It's what you said.
So what's a 3K 13 freshman?
That's early college.
There's
This is
early
what you
college
said.
down there.
That's right. But see, we will still, all of 3K will be there.
Right.
No, the only pre-K would be the one that's currently at Crestwell.
Yeah, and then but you increase it.
No.
Because if people on that end, we move the county line.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that's what I'm saying. You move the county line, you're gonna add ADM to that.
To that 3K.
To that 3K.
Kids gonna take that 3K. The parents gonna take that 3K kids.
Yeah, the ones that are on that end of the county. Instead of bringing them all the way up to.
Well, while I'm licensing rooms, I mean, I can get a second one licensed at Crestwell and still get 3 licensed at the early college facility.
Early college facility.
And
We'll get more people when you see in that one.
See, that's
Yeah.
you really would add.
well, maybe.
I believe that we would grow a little bit. And that's just mine.
God knows that's what we need to do.
I believe in NC Pre-K. I think NC Pre-K has the rigor, and I want to do whatever I need to do and jump through whatever hoop I need to jump not to lose NC Pre-K. They are more prepared for the kindergarten when they go through NC Pre-K. I'm a little biased, but
I think the parents would go with option 7 better than what they will, you know.
Well, we have not extended it past administration and directors right now in the board. So no one else has participated in the stakeholder input.
But you got to let the people know their students.
Right, but right. So do you want to give other people the option to vote on an option, or do you want to just select one? Because we need to move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
My goal is by June 1st to be able to tell BPI.
I mean, we'll have to have another meeting. So we're gonna let people that input, we will have to get the next board meeting.
What I'm saying,
For a special meeting.
especially, but we will be
The
results.
results for that.
How many people you gonna, how long you get the people? So you
I can put a survey out tonight, and we can hit social media, and we can give it a week.
At least 2.
It's whatever you say, but I'm gonna need you to tell me you like this option, what other, at least one other option or 2 other options, and then get input.
You say you can do 3 options, that's 2, 7, and 8, and 10. I mean, 7, you want number 7, right? I said 8, so that would help us. We need 3.
But I want them to 7 with the option of moving the county around.
Right, well, yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to do is help everybody instead of just taking. You could possibly add another class at Westwood.
Yeah.
Pre-K. See, that's what people don't, that's what I want, everybody to understand. And then the only people that are affected in this is, of course, times, but you can retain what you have. You can retain what you got. You ain't got to lose nobody.
Because people talking about moving private elementary to
Yeah,
what did we do?
yeah.
And we're gonna get the same thing from the people here in town.
Yeah.
From what we got from the people in the club.
Yeah, that's just,
So they keep these people satisfied, the parents. We got to think of the stakeholders, the parents.
Well, that's what she's saying, give them an option to be able to go there. And if they go ahead,
So they won't got to send their kids to school.
I think and I think about the fact that our middle school, Washington Middle School is a historic site in Washington County. There's a lot of history behind that school. You have the alumni that supports that school financially. And that's another thing that we need to consider. We just think this goes. We had an issue with they took the alumni statue, just snatched out of the ground one day and didn't even know what we're going. We have. So I just want us just to, we just got to, Washington Middle School.
I graduated from Gator.
So I'm okay with it, we just choose 3 options.
Okay, so
Yes.
option 7, 8, 9 had more.
Option 7 would be 1.
Okay, had more input because that involved all our directors and administrators.
Option 7
7, 8, and 9.
Okay, good.
Well, actually, they all did, but when asked if you could only choose 3, what would you choose? The whole group, as a collective whole, had more votes for 7, 8, 9. Yes, sir. Okay.
But there's all keep the high school intact.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep your high school intact, keep your middle school intact.
Yeah, it just expands the grade offerings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting, changing branding at schools or anything like that. I'm not suggesting any of that because we don't know how temporary it is. So I will, Chairman Reddick, then send out a stakeholder survey asking for public input. I'll also organize a staff virtual option to talk through it with staff, and we'll give. I'll bring results back to the board.
And we got to have a special meeting. But I just, let's just send it out to the people that read so we can see what, and then, you know, when you get buy-in from your stakeholders, you get, that's.
At least I'll have some data to bring back to
That's
you.
exactly right.
And it is also teachers, staff.
Yes, it'll be made public.
Could you please add that piece on option 7 about the county line?
Yes, sir.
I think that will help us, because now we're seeing that Crestwell won't just be left out there. They can possibly maybe. Okay, well, how do you, yeah.
So we're saying 2 pre-K classes and
Well, we're
we're
saying
gonna keep 3 here and add 1 in Crest.
we're going to look at what the numbers look like.
Right.
With the numbers, if you think about the numbers on that end this year, you probably could get another class in freshman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think we get one. That would be a plus for them.
Both of those facilities are gonna be easier to license.
There you go. There you go. Early college.
Right, and so.
And the current early college is all them pretty close. It's all,
It
all
does.
look like
It
a,
is
you know,
very attractive.
it is nice. It'll be the little rooms. Wouldn't that be cute?
So we don't have a 10 anymore. We got 7, 8, 9. 10 was yours.
That's correct. That's correct. We discovered that
So
we
we
already have.
discovered that 10 was actually set.
I just ate them, I love.
Yeah. He didn't have 7 that early. We just got that one last.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we have the presentation and approval of CTE local plan for the 2021-2022 school year, Ms. Rodney. We'll have to read it. And I'm sure.
I dream about it too.
Hello. How are you?
Shallow. How you doing? You all share.
We share a real ball.
No, go ahead. Okay. You have everybody's attention, Ms. Right, you can really talk to you. Not across the either, she is asking.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm here to present the CTE local application for the upcoming school year that we have to submit every year and get board approval for. The mission of CTE is to empower students to be successful citizens, workers, and leaders in the global economy. We know through Perkins funding, that's where we receive most of our money from. And with that funding, we have to create a local plan each year. And so this is what I'm presenting to you today.
Right.
With the local plan, we had to complete what is called a comprehensive local needs assessment, in which we surveyed and got feedback from the community, staff, local businesses, etc., to see what we're doing well and what things we need to improve as a district and our CTE department. We currently offer the following career pathways at our high school as well as at our middle school. So for Perkins 5, we have 8 indicators that we are kind of scored on. Those 8 are a 4-year graduation rate, in which we want to see all of our students graduating within 4 years with their cohort. We're also scored on the academic proficiency for reading and ELA, which that's our English 2 EOC scores. How many of our CT students are scoring a 4 or 5 in that area? Academic proficiency in math, our math 1 or math 3 EOCs. CT concentrators that score 4 or 5 in biology. We also look at post-secondary placement after the students graduate, what they're going on to do. Are they in college? Are they going into the military or employment? We also look at non-traditional enrollment. Those are students who enroll in courses that typically are not for their gender category. For instance, male in nursing, females in welding, etc. We also look at program quality credentials for our students. And other quality measures include our CTE post-assessments and performance-based measurements. So those are the 8 indicators for which we're judged on. Currently, this is where we stand. You can see the current, what we have. We have a local benchmark that we have to meet, and also a state goal. As far as our reading and language arts proficiency, on math and science, and our CTE post-assessment, those areas are blacked out. As you know, we didn't have a state testing last year. So we don't know whether we met or we can't judge whether we met or exceeded in those areas. But from what we have, the only one that we didn't meet was our non-traditional program enrollment. With the plan, we had to talk about how we're going to meet each indicator. So as you see, I just gave some brief information about what's in the plan for each indicator. And so, for instance, our graduation rate talked about how we're going to make sure students are completing interest inventory surveys. For academic proficiency in reading, math, and science, we're going to continue using the programs that we're already using in the district, such as Imagine Literacy, Imagine Math, etc. CTE post-secondary placement, making sure all students have career development plans so they know what classes they need to take in order to be successful in their career area. They also look at our credentialing data. So as you can see, from 2017 to 2018, we had 36.8% of our students who were receiving credentials. 2018, 2019, we grew to 51%. And in 2019, 2020, we had 139%. So wow. That means students receive multiple credentials in their year. So that's a huge increase. In the local plan, I basically focused on 5 areas or 5 CTE initiatives for the district. We wanted to focus on classroom instruction, making sure our CTE courses were relevant to the students, making sure we incorporate literacy, math, and science to help with those great proficiency areas, increase community and stakeholder involvement, and increase real-world experience in career development. So those were the 5 areas that are included in the plan. And I also discussed in our CTE local plan some of the benefits of our CTE courses. Of course, we have articulation agreement, which means some of our CTE courses, you take them in high school, but they also count for college credit. Some of our courses are what we call inherently honors. So you automatically receive honors credit for some of our courses. Of course, we have credentials. Students participate in real world experience and career development, such as our job shadowing and our internship opportunities. They receive leadership skills and also our workplace readiness skills. Also had to discuss how we plan to use our months of employment. We are allotted for, or projected to be allotted for 103 months of employment. Currently, we will be using 95 of those months. And that's the same allotment that we received last year. So that did not decrease at this time. Our state funding is $26,236.36. You can see that did slightly decrease from previous years. about $170, so not too bad. And then our federal funding, it did decrease about $579 for our federal funding. But again, that's just a flat allotment of a projection of what we're going to get.
That was a magnificent report. Thank you.
I do need approval to submit this. Yeah.
Ms. Clark, you could leave that. Mr. Riddick can step out for a second.
Well, we need a motion to approve the ECU. So move.
Second. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody see our children.
Who?
Where they go? Committee updates. I know you don't call it. I've been thinking of them.
Like before we get started. All right, everybody, good evening. I have two action items for the board tonight. There's one state budget amendment 2123. And this is going to give us our second and final allotment of our summer school program for the research needs of regular PRC 16 that we do. We've got an additional $20,943, which brings that total allotment to $52,749. And then there was an additional $83 that came in for our PRC 85, which is our early grade reading proficiency. So that's the state budget amendment.
What's next?
I just need approval of the state budget amendment.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
So moving properly second, all in favor? Motion carried.
Next thing I have for the board is an action item as well. When I first came to the district, we didn't have a stat facility to send our injured workers to. And at some point I came across a individual that had an incident and it was never followed through on. And so when I did try to put the claim on for her, it was after the fact. And so since then, I was working around trying to see if we can get someone to accept our workers' comp insurance locally so that they don't have to, if they're in an accident, drive all the way to Edenton or Martin County, or some people are going down to Beaufort. And so when I spoke recently with Plymouth Primary Care, which is right there on Highway 64, 795, Highway 64, they said they would work with us, and they're right across the street from the updated hospital. And so far it's been working out. I had two incidents where we went there and they did what they can do, and then they sent them over to the hospital if there needed more to be done. And so what I'm asking the board to do is to allow, and this is just, this is our local policy. They said they were fine with having that facility as our primary care. And then also our state insurance through Cedric is also fine with it because they said you can self-direct. And so as a result, I'm asking the board to choose Plymouth Primary Care as our first option or our only option to go. And if it's something more, then they will just go to the emergency just for our first point of care. And then if they can always follow up with their personal physician if they need to. And just so that we can have it documented that we did our part to make sure our staff was okay before they left our line of care. So I'm just asking the board.
Any questions?
I just want to say, I think it's a good idea that we support our local business.
Yeah.
Especially that because at one time people were going to Martin County, so now we have someone local that we can go to. I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
And I did try in Crestwell also, because there's a primary care in Crestwell, that they only would take people if they're already their patients. So these primary care is not an urgent care, but they'll still work with us. So I thought that was awesome.
Yes, very.
Awesome.
So move.
Second. You're moving in proper second. All in favor? Motion carried.
All right, and so the rest of the items I have are informational items. The first big ticket item up for the agenda is the NCDPI audit of our fiscal year audit from last year. So whenever we have significant findings in our fiscal year audit, then DPI or whoever funds us comes around and audit us as well. And so they looked at each one of my findings and the responses to those findings, and they wanted documentation of what have I been doing since then to make sure that there's controls in place and that we're following procedures. And so that whole document lists their questions and then my answers and then supporting documents to send along. I have to have Mr. Riddick sign it, and so I gave him a copy last week to kind of peruse through. There's some major mega documents, a lot of stuff in there. Sorry, I apologize, but you gotta show them everything.
That's right.
And then once he signs it, then I'll send it to DPI. It's not due until June, I think 11th. So they'll get it early, and then I'll have enough time to answer any more questions they might have before, because my next audit for this year starts in May. The auditors will be back here in May. So hopefully I can get that cleaned out before they get here.
We'll get that taken care of tonight.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot.
Did you find that how to do that 49,000 or 52,000?
So it didn't go anywhere. It's what happened is it came in as state funding. I budgeted as state funding. I spent it as state funding, and then DPI said no, it needs to be in child nutrition. And so what I literally did was move the expenditures to child nutrition, and then I also moved all the funds out of state and put it to child nutrition as a budget amendment. But because I budgeted at the PRC and not at the purpose, I didn't really have to do that final budget amendment I did in August. And so when I did it though, the auditors take what I do and they put it on our records. And so then it threw me off. So it was a technicality, because if I didn't do the budget amendment, I would have been fine. And so the documentation shows that I budgeted it in state, I spent it in state, and the amendment was done in August, which was well after the fiscal year closed. And so technically my records are still the same on our books, because I can't go in and manipulate any of the budgets after June 30th. Once the year closed, that's it, I can't move it around. So I showed them proof on that as well. Then I have the April board report, so that's just the report of the expenditures for the district, and we're looking really good in terms of on paper, and I'm still in the weeds trying to make sure that there's nothing left on the table for state, and then we'll settle up everything else afterwards, but that's what my focus is on now, trying to make sure we get all state funds spent and not overspent. The Board of Education April expenditures report is in there as well. So that's just the expenses to date through April for the board. I did put in there the letter that I received from the FEMA grant. So back in July, when we were trying to get laptops for the district and we moved right away and we used federal funds, and I was like, no, we can't do that. So I switched it back to capital outlay. And then FEMA initially said this is a good project. But after months of deliberation, they got back to me and denied the claim. And so I won't be getting those funds, but we use the capital outlay funds that we did have. So it's not like we were taking money from places we shouldn't have, because it was already allotted to technology anyway, so it worked itself out. Just giving you an update on the governor's school. I know last month the board approved for the paying the our portion for the young person that's going to be representing us at the governor's school. And when I asked to get the information so I could pay the bill, Mr. Price said to me, well, it might be more than what we anticipated. And so I'm coming back to the board to let you know it might be more than we anticipated. If and when I get more information, I'll let you know. Since I met with the committee on Thursday, that Dr. Carr sent me an actual invoice that shows that our bill is $500. And so I'll work on that, but I'm not so clear on what Mr. Price was initially saying. And if he was trying to say, because the student has their own portion to pay. And so I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that we'll pay the 500.
And that'll be all that's needed.
That's all we can.
Nothing will come out of pocket for her. It's just the $500.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear, because when I asked him for the information, he said something different. And I said, well, I need to let the board know. And if it changes, I'll keep you posted.
It's the 500.
Okay. Okay.
That's all it costs.
The next letter in there is a letter I'm required to share with the board. It's a pension spiking update. So every so often they look at our records to see if there's anybody that's going to be nearing retirement, and if they're at a certain level of pay, we might be in jeopardy of having to owe the state back money for the retirement system if the individuals retire. So that's something there. And so let's see. Oh, you already know about the virtual school number. So that was just a technicality to apply for it, just in case the board wanted to go for it with the virtual school, because if you did and we didn't get the number, then it wouldn't have happened anyway. That was last minute where the legislation just said, okay, we're going to push this through, and you have to May 1st to get it done. And this is on April 30th. And actually, it was April 29th when we got the notice, and I think April 30th when the application went through. And it's not even fully approved yet. It's just we're on the docket to say, hey, this is what we're interested, perhaps. Oh, and good news, ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 application funding has been submitted. And so the deadline was May 7th. We made the deadline. And so hopefully we should get at least an allotment for ESSER 2 if that plan is approved in this fiscal year. So that we'll still be able to use it and plan really good for that summer program that's going to come up. So are there any questions on anything that I shared this evening?
Thank you so much. Yes, Lord. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay. Boy, we do have one that signed up for public participation. She just couldn't get on. So yeah, she's online.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's gonna be Miss Tenora Bale. And she has some concerns about graduation attendance. That's all. So we want to hear her, give her an opportunity to say what she is. So.
Just a second. So give me just a second.
Chicken salad.
Okay, she's back on.
Okay. Miss Bale. While we waiting on there, I want to say, Ms. Jane Green sends her warmest thanks to all of us for a wonderful journey working in Washington County Schools since 2004. It's been a wild ride at times, but we have really achieved a great deal. It has been my honor and privilege to work here. So I may teach again someday, but like Forrest Gump, I'm going to stop. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been my pleasure. Sincerely, Ms. Jane Green, the ESL teacher for Washington County Schools. I just want to on record. Thank you for your service, Ms. Green. Got it, thing?
I sent her a request, told her to unmute and start a video. She hadn't done it yet.
Hello. Hello.
I do control it, but I sent her a request. So if you can do it.
It's in June, but you're right, you should probably mention it. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Good evening. I can go ahead and start. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Ms. Phipps?
Okay. Hello, my name is Sonora Bell, and the reason I would like to speak to the board on behalf of tonight is due to the fact of the graduation ceremony that's being held on May 28th. However, I have a child, which is my stepchild, that will be graduating on May 28th. However, it was informed by us only 4 tickets would be given for a graduation ceremony that would be held on the foster field. As a concerned parent and someone that's been a part of that child's life for a long period of time, as well as their grandparents and different people in the community, in the family, you know, that's a milestone that everyone look forward to with celebration of a child. Now, if it's on the foster field, I would like to know why is it a limitation of only 4 people coming to support that child on that day. I understand the social distance. I understand, you know, the 6 feet. However, I feel like this should be a day. If it's, I can see if it was held out in the inside, but this is held on the outside. So it's putting limitation and barriers to different people that wants to be there to support that child. So I have a house as well in the family, but I'm just speaking on that behalf of our son on that particular day. And like I said, I understand if it was in the inside with the limitation, but I feel like if it's on the outside, there shouldn't be any barriers. You know, school is open. Say if all the kids was in school. I mean, they get on the bus, they go to school, practice social distance. I mean, you're still gonna use the same kind of procedures that you use when you would go to any other public place. You're gonna wear your mask, you're gonna do your social distance, but just to cut out that limitation of an individual being limited on that day, I don't think that's fair. That's not fair to the parents. That's not fair to the family members that waited for this particular day of their child. You know, a lot of stuff was cut out within the school year, such as sports and things, but graduation, I don't agree with that.
Thank you for your comments and your concerns, Ms. Bale, and we definitely are going to talk to as a board and address this in a timely manner.
Okay. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night.
It's definitely something we can we'll work through, but I don't think we need a board meeting for that. It's something we can work through. As far as that's concerned, being on the outside, I mean, it's something we can definitely talk about. We'll try to address that as soon as possible. Graduation is already soon.
Yes, it is.
We'll address that. Okay. Policy updates.
Yes, sir. It's that time of year where we receive our spring updates for our board policies. So I'd like to ask that these policies be posted and available to the public for a 30-day review period. But if it's all right, Chairman Riddick, I'd like to kind of highlight some of the bigger ones. There are 48 policies due to be updated, but most of these include just simple legal references, not any substantial issues. However, there is a pretty significant requirement of the school system, and it embraces across several of the board policies for mental health training of staff. And this is board policy 1610. 7,800, 6120, 4240, 7312, and it's all in response to General Statute 115C. But this requires us to have all of our instructional staff trained by the end of 21-22, with at least the initial training is a 6-hour training. And so this is, again, an expectation that the state has, but it embraces multiple board policies. So that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention. It does have the new charts for upcoming 9th graders for 2021 because graduation requirements have changed. So that's a substantial change that's in the board policy updates. Counseling program and some requirements for counselors, as well as even what they're called. They're moving away from guidance counselor and calling it school counselor. And so those are some of the bigger ones. Like I said, there's like 48 different ones in here, but we would post those and ask that anybody that has any questions about any of them, I'll be happy to talk with you about any of them. The majority of them just have updated legal references.
Okay.
Did the board policy committee want to highlight any others? Okay. There are a lot of them. There is another one that I'll bring to you in June, and that's not in this board policy, but it needs to be fleshed out and talked about more. But the high school would like to review how balance out and class rank and all of that. But I got to bring that to you first and then do another 30-day review, and it's not ready to share with you tonight. Just that we continue to push and strive to make the most out of every day. Appreciate all of our parents for acknowledging our staff last week We celebrated all of Washington County staff last week, and we appreciate everybody doing special things for all of our educators. And even though we celebrated it last week, we celebrate you every day. So we appreciate every educator in every capacity in support of our students in schools. It takes every one of us. So that's why we made a concerted effort to make sure that we acknowledge everybody within our school system last week. Just wanted to highlight the approved fundraiser and encourage everyone, regardless of where your child goes to school. If you're in Washington County schools, please come out to McDonald's on May 20th. We do have graduations coming up. Both of them are the same day. May 28th with the early college in the morning and the high school in the evening. And we also have board a set date for recognizing our retirees for this year, as well as everyone who was celebrated tonight for being your school winner. Everybody that we recognized this evening has been selected by their peers, and that's a high honor to be chosen by your work colleagues for the work that you do to support students in the school. So we would like to recognize every one of them at that celebration. Both of those are in June. And then Mr. Norman reminded me that we need to encourage our community to support the Bear Festival. We do have school representation on June the 5th there. And I will get these surveys ready to rock and roll tomorrow. So we would like input from the community and our stakeholders regarding where we're going to put our little people next year. I think you wanted me to get some stakeholder input and bring it back to you. Yes, ma'am. And then I'll bring you back what they said.
All right, Lord. There's nothing else to claim our attention. Moving in motion to adjourn.
Second.
The moving properly second. All in favor?